How you doing?
I'm blessed. How are you?
Better than blessed.
I'm
Now that I'm
excited.
talking to you.
Oh
So
man.
everybody knows I like to start off. I like to start out hard, right?
Let's do it.
How did you feel when you saw somebody getting shot in front of you?
It was very frightening, but also eye-opening. It's my first time ever actually seeing it. I think, especially in my neighborhood, you would hear about somebody getting shot, you go to their funeral, but you never saw it. So being 15 and actually seeing the bullets hit his body and him run and stop in front of my gate was kind of like, this just happened. And seeing his girlfriend come down, seeing his mother, his brother, we all lived on the same block. They chased him onto the block. And he just fell right in front of my gate. I was just looking at him. And I'm like, you're in shock. You don't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
And finding out that he died and then going to his funeral was kind of like this is he's gone. I'm never gonna see him again. And I think it was a big eye opener, really just for me. And I said, I don't want to be a part of that equation.
Yeah. I know you said you guys were you lived in the same neighborhood, same block.
He lived in the corner. I lived in the middle of the block, and the people who killed him lived around the corner. That close.
Did you no longer feel safe where you were?
I never felt safe, but I think like that happening right then and there, I wanted to move immediately, but we didn't because we were used to it, which is crazy.
Okay. So you were 15, 14, 15.
14, 15, around there. It was
14, 15.
Just before my dad died. I remember that. So, yeah.
You lived a normal, quote unquote life up normal until life. Then. So you saw that. That's huge.
Saw that, and everything changed really.
So what happened between that incident and graduating high school?
Oh, so that incident, so that was in 8th grade.
Mm-hmm.
9th grade, 9th grade. Started high school, and no. That happened in the summer before high school. So I turned 15 in September.
Mm-hmm.
First half of the semester, high school's great. Meeting all the girls, right? Excited, having fun. June comes around, right? June 3rd. Father says, I'm not feeling it. This is the end of 9th grade year, first year high school. And this is a routine. We go to the hospital. He stays for 2 days. We leave. June 3rd, morning of June 3rd, we take him to the hospital. I think school was out or maybe just getting out. Take him to the hospital. We're hanging out. We're doing what we normally do. We get him a room, get some food. We just chill. I'm on, at the time, was called the PSP. I don't know if anybody remembers that, but it's PSP.
Mm-hmm.
And just playing PSP. And he says, go home, so you can go to school tomorrow. And I was like, no. Like, what do you mean? He was like, yeah, just go home.
Mm-hmm.
And, just get some rest, go to school tomorrow. I'm like, all right, Dad. So I leave the morning of June, the afternoon morning of June 3rd. It was still pretty early when I left. And, I go about my day as usual, go to school. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go back to the hospital after school just to, because my school already knew I was coming late. I was always going to the hospital with my dad.
Mm-hmm.
And after school, went home. I got tired. I'm like, let me take a nap. So I ate my snacks, took a nap. I had a whole routine I did. Didn't do my homework. 12 a.m. It's now June 4th. I hear stomping and yelling. Now, my sister was in the Army. She was home off deployment. I knew this was different. Now, I thought her and her boyfriend were fighting. Because that's how hard she was stomping. I run upstairs. My sister, remember, she's in the military. So she's very flexible and tactical and stuff. She jumped from the top of the steps to the bottom, meaning when I got to her, the floor where her room is, she had just jumped. So I thought she was trying to kill herself. No, she jumped and started running to the train station. So I'm like, what in the world is happening? I run back downstairs and I forgot I had my cell phone and I called my mother. So I called my mother. I live with my dad and my stepmother, but my mom, we were talking at the time. I'm running to the kitchen, and for some reason, when my mother picked up the phone, I said, I think something happened to my father. As I said that, I turned around, my stepmother's there bawling, and she said, baby, your father just died. So my mom heard it, she's screaming, my stepmother's screaming, and I'm like, what? Wait, what? Like, it didn't register. So I go to the living room and I sit down. My mom is still crying because that's technically her ex-husband. And my stepmother is crying and yelling. And so it wasn't until my brother came and grabbed me that it registered like, yo, your father just died. And so that was the groundbreaking, life-changing moment. And that's why, when your friend dies, it wakes you up. But when your father dies, life really changes. So it's kind of like that moment.
So within what, a year or two?
Within a year or two.
From you witnessing somebody else get shot and killed to now your dad.
Now my dad dies.
Now you're 14, 15. 14, 15, you've already experienced something that a lot of us have not ever experienced. Right. Witnessing somebody being shot and killed, and then experiencing the death of your father. You already not feeling safe there.
Right.
But then after your father dies, as a kid, you're still a kid. What happened after that to the time you graduated high school? Like, because I know you as Soho, the real estate mogul, right?
Right.
Real estate guru. That's what I know you as. That's who I know you as, right?
Right.
But there was something, I don't want people to miss out and to think, oh, he has this, or he knows all about real estate. He's doing this thing, he's this, he's that. Right. Like, you just woke up like this. You had to overcome some things to become who you are today.
Oh yeah.
And we're here for the people. And I want the people to know who Soho is, what Soho had to go through, how you had to succumb to certain things and environments to get where you are.
Right.
So what happens? Right. What happens after your dad dies?
After dad dies, my grandmother says, you're coming to live with me.
Okay.
Now, that was the best thing that actually ever happened in my life for two reasons.
Okay.
My grandmother was a praying woman, and she was a great chef. So all I heard was, oh, amazing dinner every night, and I get my own room. Like I get this big room. My grandmother had a 3-bedroom. So we owned the entire building. I'm going to set the precedence of this house. It was a parsonage. Now, parsonage, for those who don't know, is connected to a church. My grandfather and my father owned the church. When they died, it went to my grandmother. Okay. So we owned a huge mega church, Bethesda Memorial Baptist Church, one of Brooklyn's literal landmark churches. Survived the fire and everything. It was on the news. My family's very famous. Like, if you know, you know. And so in the parsonage, we lived on technically the second floor. We turned the basement into an apartment, and then we have floors 2 and 3. We owned the entire building. So we went in. She tried to give me the back room. I said, I don't want the back room because the view doesn't look good. I want the front room where I can see the street. So, she gave me the front room. She cleaned it out, and she said, listen, I want you to stay here with me. I want you to, work on your craft. Remember, I was a drummer. And she said, you're gonna be fine, but I want you to finish high school. She said, that's very important. She would tell me that all the time. Just please finish high school, stay focused. So 10th grade comes around. I start smelling myself a little bit. You know what that means? So now I go to the barbershop alone, and I'm like, okay, I look pretty good when I get my hair cut. So now I'm learning about hygiene. You start playing basketball, a little more. You start growing, getting friends, and you stink. So I'm like, well, I don't like the way I smell. So I'm like, well, what can I do to make myself smell good? All I do is put on deodorant. I meet a man by the name of George Davis at the high school, George Davis. And a lot of people who know him know he's now connected to Nas, the rapper. They work in the same camp. George Davis worked at Def Jam, him and his wife, Jennifer. They were, I know Jennifer deals with like the finance at Def Jam, and George dealt with like the artists and stuff. So George starts working at my school, and he becomes a father figure immediately. Like as soon as we lay eyes on each other, I smile, he smiles. What's up, kid? I'm George, right? I'm Gio is how he introduced himself. And that began a relationship that still exists today. Okay, so Gio, he starts talking to me about like working out and, how to get a girl and how to be cool around the girls, but how to keep school first. And that's how we built our relationship. I told him, like, hey, my grandmother said I got to graduate. And he was like, I got you. You're going to graduate. So he teaches me about cologne and showering twice a day. If you work out, whatever, brushing your teeth twice a day, really taking care of yourself as a young man. And then I learned about style. So I'm like, oh, all right, George can dress. So I met George. And then I met another gentleman by the name of Mr. Richard Price. Now, Mr. Richard Price, I always compare him to Farnsworth Bentley. So if you guys know who Farnsworth Bentley is, the super stylist guy who worked for Diddy, he was to him what Richard Price was to me. I would see Richard Price, I would see his suits, and I'd say, man, I want to look like that someday. Never happened back then, but it happened later on. So those two gentlemen, along with Deron Jackson, Miss Una Kareem Cross, Kelly Eiffel, and a host of other teachers really shaped my entire high school experience because they were all Black. They were all Black, and they were the first time I ever had Black teachers. For the first time in my life, I had Black teachers. Now,
let me ask you.
Please.
Did you feel safe?
I did.
Was that a safe period in your life?
It was a safe period in my life. Because technically, so the thing with my mom is that my mom lived in Atlanta. Right. So it's not that she wasn't active. It's only but so much you can do from another state. So I chose parents at school. So George was my dad. Una Kareem was my mom. Jackson was my uncle. Right. Isaac Mills was like the cool cousin. He came. He was young. And also Isaac Mills and Richard Price were fraternity brothers. So that was my first time even hearing about college and like fraternities and all of these things. And it just all sounded cool. So, I had an environment around me where no matter what was happening outside of the school, because the school was right across the street from the project, we always felt safe. And that experience molded me into loving my Blackness, loving Black women, right? I wasn't really paying attention to girls like that, before that. And I wasn't really interested. I just really wanted to make a lot of money, but it never happened. So I was always hungry, always trying to figure out how to make some money. But they put my focus on being Black, being smart. And so I started to become aware of why paying attention in school was important. I started to become aware of why respecting other people was important. Because when you're in the type of environment I was, it's easy to not care about respect. And that's just being honest. It's easy to not care about respecting others, but you demand it for yourself because you feel tough. You feel like you're big and bad. So you're going to demand your respect, but you're not going to always give it. And, Gotham Academy really.
Let me ask you this. Let me cut you off. Let me ask you.
It's okay. Yeah.
What made you want to get started in real estate? How did you get on that path?
So my first introduction was career day at high school. The only person to show up in a suit was a real estate agent. So I said to him, as soon as I walked in, He spoke for like 30 seconds because how we had it in the back end classroom, which is like right behind the science room. It's this big room, no tables, all chairs. So we're sitting in the chairs. Real estate agent speaks. Nobody's paying attention to him, but he looks really nice, like sharp. So I stop him. I'm like, yo, it's a nice suit, man. He's like, where'd you get it from? He said, it's custom. And he showed me his cuff with his name on it. And I said, oh, this is cool. He handed me a business card. He said, I do real estate. He said, as soon as you graduate, call me. I didn't call him.
Did you?
No, I didn't call him.
When did you see him again?
And I never saw him again, which is crazy. I don't remember his name and I never saw him again. But he said, when you graduate, call me. Now, I'm going to tell you why he said that. Because when you turn 18 is when you're eligible to go and get your real estate license in New York City. Mm-hmm. So he knew that by the time I graduated, I was going to be 18 and I could just get my license and come work with him. But I never saw him again. Now, that was in 11th grade. That happened. 12th grade, into 12th grade, I'm walking maybe to the store or something. I'm downtown. Me and a friend, we got separated. I'm going home. And I'm like, I want to go to the store. And as I'm reaching in my pocket, I get bumped by this random guy. And when you're from Brooklyn, you get bumped. That means you want to fight. So I back up. I'm in motion. I'm like, yo, what's up? And he just keeps saying, calm down. And I'm like, and nobody's ever told me to calm down. Like they just get ready to fight. So I'm like angry, but I'm like, I'm calming down. Like, cause I'm like, he's not being aggressive. So I'm like, oh, this is weird. Like, what do I do? Cause I want to fight, but he doesn't. So I'm looking, and he's like, yo, relax. And he's like, yo, why you rushing, man? And he's a nice, suited black man. He smells good. He's got his glasses on. He's got folders and stuff. It's like, yo, why you rushing, man? Where you going? And so now I'm like, I'm loosening up a bit. And I'm like, yo, I'm trying to go to the store. You just bumped me. He's like, I'm sorry. And I was like, did this guy just say sorry to me? Because, like, we don't come from that. Like, you demand your respect.
Right.
So he said sorry. And I was like, it's okay. And he was like, so I said, well, where are you going? Like, why are you rushing? He said, I'm going to a real estate closing. You want to come? I was like, sure. And he took me to a real estate closing. He happened to be a real estate lawyer.
Okay, so you meet a guy who is in real estate. He's an agent. He's a
real estate lawyer.
No, not him. The first one.
First one,
yep. The agent. Yep. So then you have an encounter with him that sticks out, the custom suits and all that.
Yep.
Then you have another encounter, just like out of the blue, with the real estate attorney. He invites you to go to closing, and we know people in real estate know what goes on at the closing table. So you get to see a live deal go down. Close means everybody getting paid.
Yep.
Right? Everybody's getting paid.
Yeah.
I can almost imagine you in the 11th grade.
This was 12th grade.
I mean 12th grade, senior in high school.
Yeah, now I'm a senior in high school.
Seeing the remnants of real estate, not understanding, but just seeing the remnants of being in real estate, agent, custom suits, you get to the closing table, you seeing this transaction, 12th grade. How do you feel now?
Well, first I was excited because I kept saying to him, yo, this is the thing the guy was telling me about last year. This is real estate. He was like, yeah, it's very normal. Like, yeah, it's everybody does it. I'm like, no, but like, I just met a agent. He was like, yeah, you're probably gonna be one. Just chill out. But I'm like all excited because I'm like, yeah, and I'm like, trying to remember the guy's name and do you know him? He had like these. Because, I don't know that real estate is like a universal thing. I just thought maybe they knew each other because he's an agent, he's a lawyer. Yo, listen, I just met this guy in a suit. Yeah, he had like his name on the cufflinks. And here's the defining moment. He said he had his what? He said he had his name on his, and he went like that. And he had the same thing. He said, we all have it, brother. We all make money. And he laughed. And I was like, wait, so both of y'all got custom shirts? I want one. I'm in.
And that was the beginning.
That was the beginning. That the actual truth of why I got started in real estate.
Let me ask you this.
Yes.
But your family had real estate. They owned a church.
I didn't know. I didn't know like that was real estate. I just knew like it felt more like we were in charge. You know, and it was a routine. You know, you go to your grandfather's church, you go into your grandmother's house. You're not thinking about it from a real estate point of view.
From ownership.
I was just thinking about it as
all that.
Yeah. So I'm just looking at it as that's grandma's house. That's grandma's other house. Grandpa has a house down south. Dad has 2 houses here, and we have a church.
So do you know this? Do you know that this is what you're supposed to be doing?
Now I do. Yeah, now I do. Like, as I got older, I realized I was doing real estate my entire life. I just didn't know. I've actually met realtors a few times in my life, and if I were to say their names, people would be like, "Oh, like, yeah, that's a realtor." Like, if I could remember, you know, the person I used to call my aunt, for example, before she passed, or if I could, not my actual aunt, but, you know, someone that I knew that I called my aunt. And I remember my actual aunt who also passed, you know, her telling me, yeah, you know, grandma has a realtor friend who's going to sell our property in South Carolina, right? Or if I could remember the gentleman who helped my father sell one of his properties when he wanted some more money. Small things like that. When I hear the stories again, I'm like, man, that's we've been in real estate the whole time. We've owned real estate the whole time. So I was literally destined to do this. We owned one of the most expensive landmarks in Brooklyn, like this entire time. And I just didn't know it from that point of view.
So I'm going to play the devil's advocate here. So for people who are wanting to get into real estate, like right now, listening to your story right now, they're like, well, he was born in a real estate, you know, whether he knew it or not, he's always had real estate. And, you know, this is something he was surrounded by it. But what I see here, because I see it from a different view, is you could have taken those traumatic things that happened to you in your early teens, and you could have done something totally different, right? You could have said, you know, nobody's here. You know, I lost this person. I saw this and lost my dad. You could have done something totally different. But your environment kept you safe, even when you weren't in a physical safe place per se. Your environment kept you safe. And another thing I heard you say was that you made up a family in your head with the people that were in your life.
Yeah.
Of course, you didn't know the significance of that at the time.
Right.
But what I hear you saying is, I had a very, very strong mind. I controlled my mind. I couldn't control the situations and the circumstances, but I had a mindset to win.
Yeah. Yep.
Because there's a lot of us, we've gone through a lot of things. And when we see someone like a Soho, we think, oh, he's always had it, or da-da-da-da-da. No, it's the mindset that you had, that you continue. No matter what you do, it could be real estate, right? It could be, I don't know, a law. You could be a lawyer, you could be a doctor, it could be anything. Yeah. But it's the mindset that you have that keeps you going and keeps you growing and keeps your pockets lined, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, it really hit me. It hit me hard when you pretty much said I made up my family in my head.
Yeah.
So this guy I met, he was Uncle so-and-so in my mind.
Yep.
The teachers were Auntie so-and-so in my mind. Yep. So you literally created your life.
Yep.
No matter what happened to you, you created this life for yourself. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's what people need to know.
Yeah.
Because I did the same. I don't know if you know this, but I did the same.
Wow.
I was a school teacher when I was about, 8 years old. I would have a board behind me, which was not a board. It was just my wall.
Right.
And I had little kids, like imaginary kids. And I was writing on my board and I was teaching them things. Mm-hmm. I did the same thing.
Yeah.
And what people do is they try, when we're kids and when we're teenagers, we have very wild imaginations. Mm-hmm. And we create a life and a world inside of our heads. And Absolutely. We have gurus and we have, other people that, what do? They crush our dreams.
Yep. Tell you can't do it. Make you believe it's impossible. Yep.
And that's the biggest thing that's standing out to me. Your mindset. Mm. So when you can do that at 15, at 16, and then at 17, when God starts really shaping some things up for you and putting the people in your life, your mind, you had already worked on that mindset. Probably didn't think about it. I'm sure you didn't.
Yeah.
So now what happens when things come your way? Because I don't want people to think just because you're successful, things don't happen.
Right.
How do you overcome those things?
So at the end of around the same time I met the real estate attorney, my brother gets killed. So that happening reminded me of the shooting I saw. Now, I didn't see my brother get killed. I was there right after. And this may sound crazy, but I was hurt, obviously, but I was more so like, I have to get out the hood. That was the moment I said, okay, I need to go. Like, I need to do something and get out of here. And at the time, I could only think about real estate. Like, I just, what that guy showed me, in my head, what the guy showed me, like, I want his lifestyle because he doesn't look like he goes through what I go through. Mm-hmm. So I call him. His name was Tim. I called Tim. And I said, listen, can you help me get started in real estate? And he said, well, how much money are you making right now? I'm like, not a lot. I just graduated. I don't have anything really. Mm-hmm. And he said, well, you're probably not going to be able to get your license until you turn 18, because I didn't turn 18 until September, which was technically supposed to be the start of college. Mm-hmm. So this is now in the summer. And so he says, well, do you want to wholesale? I'm like, well, what is that? He's laughing again. He's like, oh man, you really don't know real estate.
You real green. You green.
Right. So he's like, all right, look. He's like, look, here's what I'm gonna do. He says, I'm gonna charge you, and I want everybody to focus on this. I'm gonna charge you $500, and I'm gonna teach you how to wholesale. I'm like, where am I supposed to get $500 from?
Your first deal.
I didn't know that though. I didn't know that. So I'm like, I'm calling everybody. I need $500. He's like, no. Just show up on Wednesday. I vividly remember this Wednesday. So I've got, I think it was $11. And I remember I hopped the train turnstile. I took the train for free. Now, those who are in New York know that basically means I didn't pay. I just jumped over the little rail thing to jump on the train. And thankfully the train was coming. Took the train down to Wall Street. And I went to his training. I had $11. I went to Two Bros Pizza. Everybody in New York knows what that is. It's $1 pizza. It's $1 a slice. I got the two slices in the soda that comes with it. It's about $2 or so. And I ate that, and I was outside, And I vividly still remember saying this, and I say this every single time I tell people the story. I said, when I come out of here, I'm not going to be the same.
You knew it.
I knew it. Because being on Wall Street excited me in a way that I cannot really explain. I had never seen so many people in suits. I had never seen so many expensive cars. Remember, I'm from Brooklyn. Never been outside of Brooklyn. So just getting on the train for the first time to go to Wall Street, I'm seeing money. And it was at that moment I said, you know what? When I come out of here, I'm not going to be the same. That was my way of saying an affirmation before I knew it.
Yeah, it was. That was truly an affirmation.
That was my affirmation.
Back to mindset.
Yeah. and I remember saying that because I was seeing quotes. There's a lot of quotes, posted in New York City. I would see quotes, and I said, man, this is very different from Brooklyn. And I just kept saying it. Because I was also, praying. I did believe in God, and I do credit God for everything, especially those moments. But that particular moment, that was kind of my prayer / affirmation. I said, when I come out of here, I'm not going to be the same. And I remember saying that with the $8 I had left in my hand, because it was the change from paying for the pizza. And I was looking at it, eating the pizza, and I was like, you know what? This is not going to be like this always. So we're good. I went inside, sat down, and I was the only Black kid in the room. Only Black kid in the room. And here's where it gets very interesting. I learned how to wholesale. And there was a kid from my high school. He was white. Seeing these guys made me reach out to him and say, hey, what are you up to? Let's start hanging out. Now, we start hanging out. Now, actually, I stand corrected. Me and him met in 2010. We were already cool, but he hadn't spoken to me about investing in anything at the time. I just knew he was doing something like weird. He mentioned Bitcoin in 2010, but I hadn't invested in 2010. Okay, so let's go back a little bit. 2010, I meet a friend named Matt. Matt is the white kid I was telling you about. We hang out at lunch here and there, but he wasn't like my friend. He was just somebody at high school. I would always see him and two other. I thought they were into anime because the anime kids were the nerds and they sat separate. They didn't bother nobody. They were doing cryptocurrency. Well, they were trying to learn. Matt says, because when I asked him, what's up? He says, yo, we're trying to buy Bitcoin, but we don't know how much to buy. And I was like, wait, what? What are you trying to buy what? He was like, Bitcoin. I'm like, what is Bitcoin? So I start mocking him. I'm not going to say what I was saying, but I started mocking him. And he was like, yo, just let's meet up at the school. I'll tell you what it is. So he takes me to the house. We're in Long Island. Those of you who know, we're near Babylon. So we get up to LIRR, go to his house. His father at the time has a Mercedes-Benz, a BMW, and a white car. I cannot remember what the white car was.
The white car, the luxury car.
It was a luxury
It was a luxury car.
It was very nice. I just don't know what it was.
Right.
And they had a nameplate on their door. The Blank family, because I can't remember his last name, but let's just say the Whitman family. It said the Whitman family, right? And I said, is that your name on the door? And he was like, shh, please. Everybody, whatever. We get inside, we go to the basement. There's a device blowing. It's a big, long box. And he says, don't say anything. My brother's locked in. So I was like, the hell are you talking about locked in? He says, just wait. His brother was mining Bitcoin in the basement of the house. His brother was mining his own Bitcoin in the basement of the house.
Wow.
So Matt, his brother Ryan, me, and some other random guy, when we finally were able to go, because it was like the steps and then the tables and then the rigs.
Mm-hmm.
We were standing there watching, and he says, when he lifts up his hand, we can come all the way down. Ryan went like this. We came all the way down. He said, "What's up, man?" Just a regular guy, tie-dye shirt, ripped jeans, just chilling. Hair tied with a ponytail, beer cans all over the place, headphones, glasses, just the whole tech nerd. I mean, the entire thing. And he says, "Oh, you want some Bitcoin? Is that why you're here?" And I was like, "Yeah. What's up? Like, how much is it? What are we doing?" So he breaks it down. He was like, "Relax."
You knew nothing about it.
I knew nothing about it. I'm like, "Yeah, what's up? Where are they?" And he was like, it's digital. It's digital currency. And I was like, "Oh, so it's like Digimon," because the Digimon was a cartoon. Like, no, fool. It's like, it's digital money. It's on a blockchain. It's not like, so I don't know what he's talking about. I'm just getting excited. So he says, "Listen, get some money and come back and I'll mine you some Bitcoin." I'm like, "All right, whatever." So me and Matt are becoming friends. We're talking every night. We're hanging out. He's teaching me about Bitcoin. Now, am I paying attention? No. I'm playing the game. I'm doing homework. I'm not,
Right. You're not paying attention because you're not paying for it.
I'm paying for it. So
you don't pay attention.
Exactly. So we're going from 11th to 12th grade. So now we're back to 12th, back to senior year. So I meet the real estate agent towards, I believe it was around February to March. And I didn't get started in real estate until the summer, because remember, I couldn't get my license because I was still 17.
Yes. Right.
So tax season comes around. Matt says, "We're going to buy Bitcoin. I need you to get some money." I says, "How many?" He says, "We're going to buy a lot." Now, Matt is rich. It's obvious Matt is rich. I'm not. Well, I'm not as rich as him. Like, we don't have what he has.
Right.
I just asked, "How many coins are you going to buy?" He says around 2,000 to 3,000 coins. I said, "Okay, so I'll try to buy 1,000. How much money is that?" He says, "Well, let's just say it's $1 per coin. This is the most money I've ever asked for in my life." I go to Grandma. I say, "Grandma, I need $1,000. She starts laughing right in my face. Like, "What? What do you need this money for?"
Did she give it to you?
Watch this. I say, "I want to invest in Bitcoin." And she froze. She said, "You want to what?" "I want to invest." She said, No. "What's the word you just said?" "Bitcoin." She said, "No. You want to invest?" She said, "Yeah." I said, "Yeah." She said, "Sit down." My grandmother says, "I knew from when you were younger that you were going to be different."
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "Okay," I'm just listening, like, okay, here we go with another speech. I'm about to get in trouble, or so I think. She says to me, "I used to work on Wall Street.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned a lot about investing. I used to work at banks. I used to work at law firms and everything." She said, "Do you know no one in this family has ever thought about investing? I'll give you however much you need." She gave me $1,000.
Did you buy 1,000 coins?
I bought 1,000 Bitcoin.
And how much? And they were worth what then?
They were worth $1 at the time. So in April of 2011, April, Marches, I bought 1,000 Bitcoin.
Okay, now,
mm-hmm.
You know the next question.
Mm-hmm.
So what'd you do with them?
I forgot about them, to be honest. Now, they hit $4 towards the end of the year.
Right.
And I have actual proof. I have screenshots because I was on Facebook at the time. And right. I posted everything. So I posted when I bought Bitcoin. I posted when certain changes happened because Matt was telling me, not because I was watching it. So when Matt would call me and say, "Yo, our coins are going up," I would say, "Okay, Facebook, hey, our coins are going up." So, yeah. But also I started college. So I started at Nyack College. So I don't care about these little coins.
Right.
It's just
so what'd you do with them?
So they stayed in, they used to be in a cold wallet, which was offline, and I got them in a hot wallet. Now, to give him his credit, Ryan did all of that for me. I wasn't paying attention. He gave me, so my first wallet ever was, and I'm gonna get the name actually because I always forget the name, but it was Electrum. So before there was a Coinbase and all these things, Electrum was like the first company to allow you. Sorry, that's Alexa. But the first wallet that I knew of that was like a hot wallet was Electrum. So he put all the coins in Electrum, the wallet. Gave me my Bitcoin address, and he said, "Email this to yourself because you're going to forget it." So
and
Ryan said to me, I did. I emailed the Bitcoin address to myself, and all the information that he gave me. I'm like, all right, cool. But I forgot about it. Life happens. I'm trying to make money. I'm still trying to wholesale. I didn't close a deal. I'm getting little odd jobs, and I'm at Rite Aid one day. This is now in 2012, pushing 2013. I've been wholesaling the entire time, but not really making any money. And this is where life changes. Remember, Bitcoin, I forgot about Bitcoin.
Right.
They're sitting in a wallet. I'm not even paying attention to it. I get a phone call at Rite Aid. And it's I can't remember if it was Legacy Title or the firm. And I really regret forgetting because I want to thank them. They called me and said, listen, your deal closed. You got to come pick up your check. I don't know what this means. It doesn't register what this means. Remember, I've never closed a deal before. And this is why, I really make sure I tell people the truth. I wasn't some super genius who had this all planned. I was just trying to make money. So when she said this, I just go to the office because I'm told to go to the office. When you're young, you just follow instructions. You don't really know what's happening. So all I said to my manager was, hey, I have to go downtown. One of my deals closed. And she was like, you can't leave. You better leave on lunch or something. So I said, all right, well, it's downtown. It's a few stops away on the J train. I worked at Rite Aid in Brooklyn, Rite Aid Halsey Street. She says, listen, go on your lunch and come right back. I said, all right. I go to the office and everybody is smiling. So I'm like, they said the deal closed. Like, I don't know that closing is a good thing. So I said, hey, my name is Soho Brown. You guys just called me, told me to come to the deal close. Oh, yeah, here you go. And she hands me an envelope. Hands me an envelope, right? Gives me the envelope. I take the envelope. I'm like, all right, what's this? She said, it's a check. I'm like, it's a what? Now, I know what a check is because I work at Rite Aid. I get checks. She said, hold on. The lawyer comes out. Not the lawyer that I met, but a different lawyer. He says, hey, little man, don't scream. Because, people always scream when they get paid here. You can't scream in this room. I'm like, I ain't screaming. What you talking about? I get back on the elevator. I open it. It's $14,000. I start screaming. I start screaming. Like,
even though they told you not to.
I start screaming. But I'm in the elevator, so it's good. So I have my moment. I get back on the train. I'm like holding on to the check for dear life. I wound up going home. I didn't even go back to work. Like, I forgot I had to go back.
So was that a real estate deal from the guy who taught you wholesaling? No,
that was just a regular wholesale deal. I was calling people, trying to get their property into contract like I was told. And the gentleman who was buying who I was reassigning the contract to, he chose that closing company. He closed that title company. So I just remember, I don't know that I can choose my own. I don't know these resources. So he said, we're going to use this title company. They close quick. I'm like, all right, cool. I tell the seller, hey, by the way, we're using this company, not the one that you chose, whatever. I'm really just following instruction. I'm not in control of anything. I'm just trying to make some money. Now I know I have the control, but back then I didn't know. So the buyer could have told me, we're closing 10 days from now. I would have said, all right, let's do it.
Right. So I want to get back to the Bitcoin. What happened to the Bitcoin?
Bitcoin comes back to me in 2016. So now I'm closing deals. Thank God, 2015, I make my first million. Now I'm 22. And I just hold some my way to $1 million. Life is getting a lot better, whatever. 2016 comes around. I'm hearing about this company called Coinbase. Coinbase comes around. I'm hearing about it, not paying attention. I'm just like, oh, this is cool. Everybody's talking about Coinbase. Now I'm thinking Coinbase is like another Facebook. I hear money, but I'm like, oh, it's probably
you thought it was a social media platform.
Yeah, because it's just that's what everybody talks about. I'm getting out the shower one day. Vividly remember, I'm in my apartment and I'm hearing two people talk. One is saying, Coinbase, and I hear the word Bitcoin. Now my brain starts to remember 2011, 2012. And I'm like, why does that sound familiar? So I call Matt, didn't we? And before I can really get it out, he says, bro, did you see the price? And I was like, no. He says, yo, go check your wallet. And I'm like, my wallet. Oh, the thing your brother gave me. Yes. So I now have to go through years of emails because his brother told me to do what? Email
it to yourself.
I email it to myself. I do the whole thing of getting my coins from Electrum to Coinbase. I made a Coinbase account. Matt helped me. And he was like, yo, look at the price. It was $11,000 per coin. I had just made $11 million.
Just like that. What did you do?
Nothing.
What did you think?
Oh my God, I'm rich. Oh my God, I'm rich. This is 2016. Now, I had a mentor at the time named Richard Law. Richard helped me open up all of my bank accounts at TD Bank because my credit was horrible because I made the amateur mistake of getting a credit card in college.
Oh,
yes.
That's the norm, right?
They had the table. Hey, free credit card, $500.
Yeah.
I felt for it. So, I was scared.
So you're $11 million richer, and now you're trying to open up a bank account.
Yes, another one. I had a regular bank account, but I'm like, no, I need I don't want anybody to, I don't know. Something just said, you got to open up a new bank account. So I went to TD Bank. I met Richard Law, but he was with TD Ameritrade.
I got you.
So I basically went to the wrong person, but we built a relationship. So he taught me about trading and Forex, stocks, whatever. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. So he helped me open up a regular bank account. I tell him what happened with the money, and he says, oh, hold it. He said, hold it. I've got 6,000, 7,000 coins. Hold it. I was like, wait, what? He's like, yeah, I've got 6,000, 7,000 coins. Hold it. Bitcoin is going to get way higher. Don't sell it. I'm like, bro, I only have $1 million. This is 11 million. What do you mean? He's like, trust me, hold it. He was like, and he used to always ask me, am I going to steer you wrong? And I'd be like, no. So I did not sell it. I held it for a long time. In fact, I just sold it in 2021.
All of it?
All of it.
No.
All of it. I sold every single coin in 2011. May 15, 2011.
Wow. Do you wish you would have held on to any of it?
No, because it dropped. It's at 40. It's 40,000 now. Now I do have some extra coins, but not that many. I have a few. Just I got some Bitcoin, but the majority of my coins are gone. Now the actual number I bought was 1,046 coins. So I still have the 46, but I sold the 1,000. I was known for having 1,000 coins. It was a big deal. Yeah. But I sold it. I sold all 1,000.
So what are you doing now?
I am teaching other people about real estate because, it changed my life. It actually changed my life.
It did.
And I think now that I'm older, I really appreciate the impact that real estate has had on my life, not even financially, but just to think about something to do when you're growing up in the hood and how far it can take you. And I said, man, if it can happen for me with not that much technology and not that much advancements, imagine what, a kid my age in the hood could do now.
Right.
I mean, back then I did everything from a phone and the library computer before I had my computer. So just imagine, I mean, these kids, they got TikTok. You could find buyers on TikTok. It's crazy thing. When I'm teaching people, I'm telling them you can use every single resource. There's Facebook groups, there's Instagram, there's everything. There are so many ways you can make money through real estate, especially wholesaling. So I think about the average person and, if they don't have any money, there's a free option that I do. If they have a little bit of money and they want to use their money to make some money, there's an option for that. But my heart's desire is to not recreate my story, but enhance theirs. Because you're supposed to go through things, but there's a point where change has to happen. And that's really what I went through to experience. I went through the same thing you went through, but a change happened. And so I'm really the vision implementer. Hey, what do you want to do? I have an option for you that changed my life, and I think it'll change yours. And that's what I'm doing now. To date,
I can tell you.
Yeah, go ahead.
I can tell you do it because that's what you love to do, and it's a passion, not because you need the money.
Yeah, no, I if there were no money involved, I'd still do it. To date, I have a real estate wholesaling company / firm. And so what we do is we provide the option to sellers and buyers. We work with both. We don't just work with the sellers, we work with buyers as well. Okay. And I created it like a network. So I have a network of buyers who want deals and I have a network of sellers who are always trying to sell. And a lot of times I'll cold call somebody, hey, I understand you're trying to sell your house. I've got a network of buyers in your city. And I'll connect them for a small fee. I'm not really doing pay me 60, 70,000. It's just, so whatever works for the deal, I'll take that. And that does shock a lot of people because they think because you've made a lot of money, in real estate that you're supposed to make the bulk of the deal. And it's not really the case. I don't mind leaving a bunch of equity in the deal. My minimum is $5,000. And so a lot of my deals are $5,000. And when I say that, people look at me like, oh my God, you can make 25, you can make 50. Well, it's not about the money. It's a company. We have visions, we have values, and our values are to help people. And I think, me taking 50, 60,000 every single time shies away from the vision of my company, which is to help the seller and the buyer accomplish a goal. We help you accomplish a goal. We facilitate the deal. And I think that mixed with, remaining humble is really why I am where I am today, company-wise.
For sure. For sure. So this is what I want you to do now, okay. Mr. Soho Brown.
Let's do it.
I want you to speak to that 14, 15-year-old young Black male who just probably grew up without his father or just had some traumatic things going on in a bad environment. And they may be listening. Their parents may be listening. I don't know. May pass this along to them. Right. I want you to speak to that person.
Okay. What you're going through now, it's hard. And for a while, it's not going to get better. A lot of people are going to tell you, oh, it'll get better. Stay focused. No. Go through it. It's a part of your journey. You were chosen for this specific moment. And everything that you've gone through is called a test. And it creates what's called a testimony. The reason I want you to stay focused is because you won't see the testimony if you're not focused. Go through it, but pick something and stick with it. So if you are the young man who's in the park playing basketball, put up 100 shots. Go through life, but put up those 100 shots. If you want to be a scientist, be in your school's lab as much as possible. If you want to be a lawyer, stay in the library. Those of you who know, you can find a law library, get there. Whatever your desire and goal is, stick to it now because it's going to pay off later. It may not feel like it now, right? I may just sound like some guy just talking and, he just sounds like everybody else telling me it's going to get better. I'm living proof that it's going to get better. If it can happen for me, it can happen for you. And of course, if you're interested in real estate and you're 18 and under, go ahead and shoot me a DM and I'll do for you what somebody did for me. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Oh, of course.
Now, how can everybody reach you? Contact you?
At Soho Brown on all platforms, or you can just go to my website, sohobrown.com. You can connect with me there. There's a contact form. Even if you don't want to do business, you want to just say what's up, just come say what's up. And we can talk. I'm a very nice guy. I talk to everybody. And for those listening, really, when you reach out, really have a vision in mind. Because if not, I'm gonna give you one. But really have your vision in mind, because I do have a passion for helping people take that vision to the next level, in whatever way that is.
Thank you again. Awesome.
It is. Thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure, honestly.
Yeah.
Absolute pleasure.
All right, guys. See you next episode.